Welcome to this behavior break presented by the Arkansas Behavior Support Specialists. Today, we will talk about taking a circumstances view of behavior. Meet Jackson. He's a third grade student who has been engaging in problem behaviors at school for the past month. Some of his problem behaviors include throwing items, yelling cuss words, and running around the classroom. When someone engages in an inappropriate or problem behavior, people often blame the person for the behavior. For example, some of the school staff members working with Jackson have said, "He is spoiled and entitled. He just likes to be in control. He is so disrespectful and lazy," as ways to explain the problem behaviors he's been displaying for the last month. Blaming labels something inside the person as the source of the problem behavior. This way of explaining behavior assumes that there is some defect in the person that accounts for the behavior. Blaming the person to explain the behavior is dangerous because it promotes punitive actions against the person. You might hear someone say, "I need to teach him a lesson." Someone may feel justified in using unkind or potentially dangerous or abusive actions in response to another person's inappropriate or problem behaviors. Examples of some punitive actions taken against students could include yelling at the student, shaming the student, or taking things away. Dr. Patrick Fryman describes an alternative way to understand behavior called the circumstances view. This view attributes the source of the problem behavior not to the person, him or herself, but to what has happened to the person over the course of their life up to the occurrence of the behavior. Let's listen to Dr. Fryman describe the circumstances view in more detail.
Imagine that you're late for work one morning and you're in a hurry. You come up to a busy intersection, light's red, but you feel lucky because there's only one car in front of you. And then ultimately the light turns green, but the car in front of you doesn't budge, just sits there. And you look up there and you see there's a woman in the driver's seat, but she's not even looking out the window of her car. She doesn't even know the light's green. She's looking into the back seat. And then the light turns yellow and red and you sit through another revolution. And finally it turns green, but the car still doesn't budge, just sits there. And you look up there and you see she's still not looking out the window of her car. She still doesn't know the light's green. She's still looking into the back seat. Then the light turns yellow and red again, and maybe you get angry enough to go up and find out what's going on. You knock on her window. She looks up at you, and she has tears in her eyes. And you look into the back seat. And you see there's a baby back there, and it's turning blue. And in that instant, our anger or frustration, irritation, anything we might have been experiencing along those lines would be gone. And what would take its place is some compassion for her and a desire to help that baby. And there's a whole science that has been developed around this way of thinking, this circumstantial way of thinking. It's called behavior analysis. The fastest growing behavioral science in the world. It has a foundational idea. And this foundational idea is very compatible with Father Flanagan's view, very compatible with the baby in the back seat view. There's a sense is there's always a baby in the back seat. There's always a set of circumstances that are functionally related to the problematic behavior. And when we see them, we tend to have a more compassionate view of that problem. This science has an idea that's very similar in that it attributes the source of problematic behavior not to the misbehaving person, him or herself, but to what has happened to the person over the course of their life up to the exhibition of the problem. As a result, it doesn't seek to fix the blame. It seeks to fix the problem. It's very easy on the person, very easy on the world, very hard on the problem, and everything it touches improves.
As Dr. Fryman mentioned, there are several benefits to taking a circumstances view of behavior. First, it is easier on the individual displaying the inappropriate behavior and harder on the problem or the circumstance. The focus becomes about understanding the circumstances that contribute to the problem behavior and fixing the behavior by modifying current circumstances in a way that'll bring about desired changes in the person's behavior, rather than blaming the inappropriate behavior on something defective inside the person. The circumstances view promotes compassion for the person demonstrating the inappropriate behavior. Let's listen to Dr. Fryman talk about how to put the circumstances view into action.
It's needed more than ever. There's more understanding, more acceptance, more tolerance, more compassion So how do you do that? How do you spontaneously generate compassion? Well, I have a recommendation. I have a couple of recommendations. The next time somebody behaves obnoxiously around you or towards you, they cut you off in traffic, or they cut you off in line, or they cut you off in conversation. They give you that look, or they give you that tone, or they use those words, or they get on your case for wearing a mask, or they get on your case for not wearing a mask. You'll have a reaction, almost certainly, an emotional reaction. Have it, but don't act it out. Instead, just take a couple of deep breaths, let them out more slowly than you took them in, and then ask yourself, really ask yourself, what is the baby in this person's back seat? Or what else could this mean? What could be going on in the life of this person to have them behave that way? And come up with one plausible set of circumstances that could account for it. And in that instant, you'll have created some compassion. And you can take it a step further. You can take it a step further by being kind towards them.
To review, if you want to put the circumstances view into action, you should follow these steps. First, you observe a problem behavior. Second, recognize that you're having an emotional response to that problem behavior, such as anger or frustration, but don't act on the emotion. Instead, take a few slow, deep breaths. Then, ask yourself what might be one circumstance that is contributing to this person engaging in this problem behavior. Think of one plausible scenario. With that scenario in mind, be kind to the person. If you're responsible for helping this person improve their behavior, your next step might be to start investigating what circumstances are actually contributing to this person engaging in the inappropriate or problem behavior. Let's practice putting the circumstances view into action by considering some circumstances that may contribute to Jackson throwing items, saying cuss words, and running around the classroom. If Jackson's mother is ill and has been hospitalized several times in the last month, this could contribute to the occurrence of Jackson's problem behaviors. If Jackson has a history of being removed from the classroom to a quiet setting with preferred items and activities when he engages in these problem behaviors, this may contribute to continued occurrence of these problem behaviors. If Jackson were one of 7 children in a single-parent home, he may have learned that engaging in inappropriate or problem behaviors is a means to get attention in a busy household. Any of these circumstances could contribute to continued occurrence of the problem behaviors. By considering the baby in the back seat or the circumstances that promote occurrence of these behaviors for Jackson, school staff are better able to be compassionate toward him and work on changing his school environment in ways that will promote more desired or appropriate behaviors. So the next time you encounter a problem behavior from one of your students or an inappropriate behavior from someone else in your life, I challenge you to have compassion and take a circumstances view by focusing on understanding circumstances that contribute to the person's behavior rather than blaming the person for the behavior. To learn more about the circumstances view of behavior that was covered in this behavior break, read Dr. Fromen's article in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis titled, "There is No Such Thing as a Bad Boy, The Circumstances View of Problem Behavior." Or watch Dr. Fromen's presentation in the YouTube video titled, "No Such Thing as a Bad Boy, Ignite Compassion for Problematic Behavior."